Two of the world's finest cyclists will be in Bordeaux today. Miguel Indurain will bring the Tour de France into the city as leader of that race. Chris Boardman, the Olympic champion, will attempt the world hour record in the velodrome. Hello again and welcome to a very special programme today during our Tour de France coverage. Behind me is the finishing line here in Bordeaux of today's stage in the race, while here on the side of the lake at Bordeaux is the famous cycling velodrome. The crowd's flooding in here now to watch the British Olympic champion Chris Boardman attempt the world hour record, a record which only 6 days ago was set by the Scottish rider Graham O'Brien. And at 10 o'clock this morning, Chris Boardman, to an enormous cheer from a stadium packed with 2,000 spectators, rolls now, and the attempt is on for the world hour record. And the 5 kilometre point, Chris Boardman is creeping back to the record set by Graham O'Brien. 5:47 for O'Brien, 5:48 for Boardman. This is unbelievable. No one has ever been inside 23 minutes at the 20 kilometres distance in the hour record before. Chris Boardman is on a schedule now to annihilate this record. This is impossible. Chris Boardman is simply not slowing down. 45 minutes 57.295. No one has ever seen that before in the world hour record attempt. 40 kilometres gone. History in the making of one of the sport's greatest moments. Boardman now, it's only a question of how far can he go. The record will shortly be his. 57 minutes 28.749 at 50 kilometres. Inside 1 minute to go for Boardman. The clock is counting it down. The record he's aimed for is gone. 51.596. 904 centimetres, that was the record of Graham O'Brien, and in 6 days have passed by. Chris Boardman has come here knowing he's had to beat a friend and a rival to take the most coveted record in the sport. And ironically enough, he's been cheered by French people who have been given free entry and by the British who've come to watch him. They're on their feet now in the home straight. They're shouting out of Chris Boardman the last few centimetres out of those legs, which must be snapping off with the effort. Chris Boardman could now become the first rider to break the 52 kilometres barrier. There will be a count back because he must complete the hour, and if the hour isn't exactly on the start-finishing line, there will be a count back. So there will be a delay to confirm his exact distance. But it's a record and there's no doubt about that. The gun is gone. Chris Boardman is now the holder of the most coveted cycling record in the world.
That was an unbelievable ride today. Did you think this morning that you were going to take it by so much? Well, actually we were hoping to take it by a lot more, but because of the humidity, it's nearly 80%. Because of the rain outside, it was just too hot, so I had to slow down, or because Janto was going to faint. So I thought it was better to get it by a little bit. Or a little bit less, and not fall off at half an hour. And also because it's so dark outside, we had to have all the lights on, which makes the temperature go up. So it was the worst conditions we could have got. But I said I had to do it today, so it had to be today.
Well, what a marvellous year this has been for Chris Boardman, Olympic champion last year, and now the new holder of the world hour record. It's going to be difficult, but now we must go back to the Tour de France on the road to Bordeaux today. And the rollout this morning with the riders leaving Orthez, heading for Bordeaux, coming at just after 9:15, and all of the riders starting who finished yesterday, so nobody's dropped out. And a little bit more relaxed atmosphere as well as they make the way, and I would think that Miguel Indurain here is also feeling very, very happy this morning. No mountains ahead of him at all. The route they face offers no challenge at all. One small hill, and then they come right down to the finish just 5 metres above sea level at Bordeaux, 200.5 kilometres. And at the first sprint, it was Christophe Capel winning, After 14 kilometres ahead of Peter de Klerk, Johan Museu trying to snick a few points for the green jersey competition. But it's generally, there's been no real attacking at all. So the riders now passing under the 20 kilometre to go banner, and that will leave them just 12 miles of racing. And it's been a very quiet day here in the Tour de France. They have all come together. We've had one or two little flurries, but nothing to speak of. And now it looks like this leading group, which went away at around about the 143 kilometre point, 21 riders in it, are now looking forward to a possible sprint it out between them when they get down to Bordeaux. Flat roads, we're running down to sea level all of the time now. We'll finish at just 5 metres above sea level. And, well, if we're looking at the majority of teams represented in this breakaway, it should be good enough for them to stay clear. But the gap, Paul, is still
hovering. It's 1 minute and 27 seconds as they went under the 20 kilometre to go banner. So they haven't actually managed to pull back on these leaders at the moment. And I really must admit that if it does come down to a finish between all of these riders, at the moment I really wouldn't know which man to pick. There are a lot of riders here who are capable of jumping clear. As we go under the 20 kilometre to banner to go for the main field, it looks as if the actual chase has been turned off by the main field now, because there were one or two Chazal riders at the front going clear, and it may well be that the lead will go up again.
This looks like an attack actually from the front by Patrice Esnault from Chazal. Chazal rather, they in fact are the ones that seem to have missed the move, Paul. There's nobody in that front group from this team.
Nobody from that team at all. In fact, they've had quite a hard Tour de France. They came in at the last minute as a wild card because they're a French team, because they don't have enough points to qualify for a ride in the Tour de France.
Well, this is the big figure. Now it could well be Christophe Hen who's going away here. Or is it Ralph Aldag? Ralph Aldag it is. Now he's a sprinter, Paul, who might like to take on Abdou Japarov, and yet he's starting to... I think this is the first of the loosening up tactics by the German Telecom team, because they have so many men in this front group, and they're going to start playing man on man now and making the rest chase them down.
Everybody knows that that is the tactic because of the speed of the Tashkent Terrier, as he's known around here. They know that they have to try and get clear, because if it does come down to the sprint of the 21 men, I feel that he's almost unbeatable. So what will happen now is little groups will go away and everybody will keep coming up to them, and eventually one group might just go clear. But what a way to mark the breakaways. Jamaluddin Abdou Japarov himself has come straight up to Rolf Aldag, and that looks like Francois Simon in the blue and white jersey of the Castorama team.
Look at those big legs of Abdou Japarov. He's letting nobody, he feels now this is his territory. These are the flat roads of the Tour de France, and he's the man who's now in control, Abdou Japarov. He rode his first Tour de France in 1990. He'll never be a winner of this great race because he hasn't got the power in the mountains or the time trial, and he finished 145th, but in 1991 he really did come good. He finished with 2 stage wins at Lyon and Reims, and he also won the green jersey, which he is wearing today, with a very good lead overall. And he's now going to do something that nobody thought he would do, but he split the field up and he's gone, and Motte's realised it too. Charlie Motte, this marvellous little Frenchman who was so badly injured in March, he's finding his old form again. He looks over his shoulder there. He's got Jackie Giron, the champion of France, and he's saying, come on, Jackie, let's get up there. And Giron, look at this, Paul, he doesn't even wait for Motte, he's jumped him.
Well, he didn't want to work with him to get up there because he has a teammate, Francois Simon, in the front group of 3 riders there. And you see he's left Charlie Motte gasping for wind there. That was a superb little move. He waited until Motte had just slowed down enough, and then he jumped him across. And then Durand has got up to the front group of 3 riders, and it's going to give Charlie Motte a hard little chase just to get on the back there.
Motte still searching for the souplesse after that injury. Normally he wouldn't have been left like that. He'd have taken the wheel of Durand. But now he's digging deep to just get onto the tail of this group of 4. Abdou Japarov, Motte's now about to get onto it. Then he'll take a few deep breaths. All of these riders now, the Benesto team, looking after their leader. There he is, Miguel Indurain, looking very cool and collected today. Not under the same pressures now. The mountains are behind him. He's looking forward to tomorrow's time trial stage of the Tour. And there is the rider who would like to claim second place before Paris on Sunday in the polka dot jersey, Tony Rominger. And Abdou just checking out what's going on, and there's Jackie Giron taking a good look at Motte, and there's somebody else comes shooting through the inside here, and it looks like it's Michel Vermoth has come on. The big rider from Belgium it is, who's latched on to the back. He was the rider who got the last place on the Festina team at the start of the Tour at the expense of Sean Kelly, the Irishman. And it's the first breakaway, in fact, which Vermont has been in.
Well, it's quite a strange selection program too, as well as Vermont jumps down the left-hand side of the road. He wants to pay back his team for selecting him for the Tour de France. He's a good rider, but I think it was very strange, that selection program around Sean Kelly there, because I was told that Kelly was informed on the Friday night, there's a possibility that you may ride the Tour de France. We will let you know after the outcome of the Belgian Championships. And I watched the interview on Belgian TV the morning of the race when they asked Michel Vermont how happy he was to have been picked for the Tour de France. So the decision was obviously made, and it's such a shame to have kept Sean Kelly out of the Tour de France, because I feel he probably won't be able to ride the Tour de France again.
Now it seems that behind our camera here there's been a general regrouping of this 21 riders. A number of new names have shot through the lens. Well, one that was Herman Frison, and this rider coming up here, Stefano Zanata, from the Gatorade team. So the Italians are coming back onto the scene again. You can't keep them down. They're having some tremendous years now, the last 3 or 4 years. So it does seem these 21 riders are now going to survive to the finish. It's just really a question of which one of them will win the stage. We'll take a break.
Welcome back. In the old days, the Tour de France was a simple affair, a group of men on bicycles making their way around France. The arrival of television, though, has changed all of that. It's become a complex and international event, followed by an estimated 70 million viewers worldwide.
As you may imagine, it's quite a job getting sweaty men in Lycra into all those living rooms every night. With race stages of around 150 miles every day, motorbikes are the backbone of Tour coverage. 4 bike crews are out on the road with a helicopter above to handle aerial shots. The real press frenzy starts as the race nears its finish. Out on the line, a crowd of TV crews and photographers struggle to get the best shots and get out of the way before being run down. Each day, it gets a little closer. And then there's the commentators.
But there are others not too far behind.
Well, riders who are a little bit further down the road are Eric Brooking, who's trying to get back.
Bei uns passiert auf der Tribüne am Ziel in Serge Chevalier. Da ist de coronar el mítico Galibier, Romingar, Indurain, Mejía, Hamstein, Chascula.
Protagonista principal también el ciclismo colombiano.
Hoy no fue el día para Chiapucci, que tiene el alma en el cuerpo. Tampoco.
These Colombian versions of Whispering Bob Harris are on the radio live through the night back in Bogota. All in all, there are 117 different stations crowded into the press tribune. Upstairs is radio, downstairs is TV. Japan, Australia, America, and most of Europe are all here. Out the back of the commentator's scaffolding is the biggest part of any tour stage, the TV compound. Towered over by giant satellite towers, it's a 2-kilometer square maze of cables, scanners, catering trucks, foreign languages, and of course, us.
To meet the demands of Channel 4 and all of our colleagues, a staggering 800 tons of equipment needs to be lugged around every day. It's a gargantuan effort, and one in fact that almost dwarfs the actual race itself. Back now though to the men who make it all somehow seem worthwhile, Phil and Paul.
Well, thank you, James. I thought you meant the cyclists there, and these are the leaders today. 21 of them are out in front on the route to Tour de France. Now we're racing across the face of Bordeaux itself.
Well, that whole group came back together again. At one time, there were 21 riders back in one pack again, but almost immediately Michel Vermont attacked, and he's drawing clear with him now Yaroslav Ekimov and David Cassani from the Ariostia team.
On the start line this morning, 136 riders facing the starter, so 44 riders having given up the Tour de France so far. And the average speed of the stage, it'll be a little bit quicker now. It's 34.7 kilometers an hour over the first 3 hours of the day. And the Tour dipping inside a record speed now at 38.791 kilometers an hour. Yellow jersey today is worn by Miguel Indurain, of course. Tony Rominger is the King of the Mountains leader. And Shamaluddin Abdu Japarov, in the thick of the action today, is the leader of the green jersey.
You see now, as we get a little bit closer to the finish, everybody doesn't want to do too much because they're thinking of the energy that they have to save to produce a final sprint at the finish line. It looks as if, to me, it's going to come back together again because they're sitting up across the road. Everyone's looking around to see where the others are, and this is playing into the hands of Abdu Japarov. 21 riders in the front at the moment.
And Vermont goes again. Can you believe this? This rider really has got the bit between his teeth today. I think this is his third attack as he launches it again now as we cross Bordeaux. This big rider from Belgium.
Well, the winner will definitely come out of this group. Michel Vermont is trying to be that winner at the moment. At the 10-kilometer flag, the time gap to Patrice Esnault was 2 minutes and 43 seconds, with the main field a lot further back now at 3 minutes. This is the main field, and as we can see, as over the last few days, many times we've seen it's the Banesto team doing the work, but not chasing too much, because all they're interested in is keeping Miguel Indurain in the yellow jersey, and there's nobody in this group of 21 who's a threat.
Well, I think this is his third attack, Paul, and it's going to be the last one as far as he's concerned. If he's caught now, he'll have used up far too much energy for the finish, so he's totally committed, and for the moment at least, he's got the gap. Little look at his gears there. 21 different gear ratios, but he'll be using the highest one of them now. He won't need any others today. And there's another sharp attack, and I'm not sure whether in fact that's not Charlie Motte who's trying. It is the way he looks over his shoulder. That's little Charlie down there, and Jamaluddin Abdu Japarov is straight after him. But this rider is holding them all off, and the finish is coming closer. 3.5 kilometers to go now to the line. Oh, and dear me, they're right on him. This little group, Charlie Motte has sat up, though he wants some help from Abdu Japarov, and Abdu Japarov doesn't seem too willing to give it, but it looks as though Vermont has decided to wait for these two and take a breather behind them, perhaps.
In fact, that green jersey there was Zanata who came across, and I think that may well be Yaroslav Ekimov who's come up there, and they've caught Michel Vermont, who really was suffering towards the end there. There are 3 riders in the lead at the moment. Zanata swings over, waiting for Yaroslav Ekimov to do the turn, but behind, the group is really breathing down their necks. Well, this is a real psychological time at the moment. The group behind know that they have to catch these riders because they could be throwing away a stage victory in the Tour de France. And the men at the front, all they can think about is putting everything into it to try and stay away.
It's quite a long way up the finishing straight here in Bordeaux, but they're all together, and now it's Bramati who goes. No, it's not. It's Nonce rider who's gone this time. And this again will be Philippe Louvio.
He's an extremely aggressive rider, Philippe Louvio, and you see all these riders know it's no good waiting for the sprint, because if the 21 riders come together, it's almost certain that Jamaluddin Abdu Japarov will take the victory. 2 kilometers to go now, and again the attack's coming thick and fast. This is Steve Bauer going down the right-hand side, but straight away Francois Simon from the Castorama team is on his wheel. 2 kilometers to go. This is a nice move.
Here's Prudentia Indurain. Looks rather like his brother, except the attire isn't quite the same, because his brother Miguel wears the yellow jersey. You can see him now. These are the teammates who have survived the Tour, with Miguel Indurain now bringing home their leader. They will not be concerned by the time gap, because none of the riders in that leading group had any chance of gaining enough time today to endanger Miguel Indurain. Now Simon looking across there and seeing if Barry is going to continue, because they want to try and hold off. As you hit this psychological point where they might relax behind just long enough for them to gain a couple of yards that will decide the stage today, and Francois Simon is trying to desperately keep this move going. Bauer gets his wheel very, very quickly, then takes the opportunity to check over where the pack is, and they're massing right behind now as the finish approaches.
Can't be too long now to the 1 kilometer banner. That is what they will be looking for, and it looks as if they're getting a little bit of a gap there. 4 or 5 seconds as they come through with 1 kilometer to go. A Bauer comes through again. It's going to be an incredible sprint, and can the group behind come back? I'm not sure now.
Well, Jamaluddin Abdu Japarov may have made a mess of this for his sprint, because Steve Bauer could be giving Motorola a stage win here. They've had one. Oh, dear me, I don't know what shot up them, but it hit the spokes of Bauer, but he didn't mind. He's looking over to Simon, who refuses now to assist because he wants to start the sprint. They're going to gamble. They're going to gamble on them not catching them and play cat and mouse. This is a dangerous way to survive in the Tour. Bauer is trying to wait and not use his energy too soon as the sprint starts on the left of the road. Francois Simon won't go either. This is nervous. These are nervous moments indeed. And you know what have they done? They've thrown it away. They've completely thrown it away as home comes now. And they've given this to Abdu Japarov, who's poised in 3rd place there. Abdu Japarov is the rider in third place. Unfortunately, as you can see, the public, that's better. Now we can see the middle. Franz Masson is coming in the centre. Now goes Abdu Japarov, and they gave him this one. They won't stop him now. He kicks on the right of the picture. Jamaluddin Abdu Japarov wins with ease, and go on. He's going to go again. Wrong line. He sprinted for the wrong line, but he got it in the end. Jamaluddin Abdu Japarov snatched it on the line, and that is the second stage win for the little man from Tashkent. And now you see why they were right to fear him. He just accelerates away, no problem at all, except he sits up when he gets to the advertisement signs on the road and thinks it's the finish look. And there's the salute, wrong line. It was the line that he's just gone over, so he continued the sprint, but he's had so much to spare, it wasn't very difficult, was it? And now they're bringing home Miguel to the line. Nobody interested. This looks like Patrice Esnault, who survived. 4 minutes 20 seconds for Esnault, who's in. Now, will the main field sprint it out? I'm not too sure whether they're going to bother, because there's not a lot left for them today with 22 riders already home. Indurain will be very happy just to sit there and pedal in. And the Benestos having a look over the shoulder. Well, they are going to have a little bit of a sprint anyway. And the Lotto rider bringing them home here is in fact Luc Russen. And again, you see, I'm not too sure whether he made the same mistake of sprinting for the wrong line. It was Peter de Klerk who just brought them all in. Tony Rominger in the polka jersey. And there's the time gap. 4 minutes 51 seconds was the gap. And so what a great sprint in the end. They gave it to Jamaluddin Abdu Japarov, didn't they? And the photo finish revealed Frankie Andreu in second place, while Sorensen was third. Franz Masson finished in fourth place. So Abdu Japarov on the podium as a stage winner for the second time this tour. He also won at Dinar. Overall, no change at all today. Indurain still leads Alvaro Mejia by 4 minutes and 28 seconds. Jaskula, Rominger and Rees in that order. But today, Miguel Indurain shared the podium here in Bordeaux with the British champion, Chris Boardman. Today, he set new figures in excess of 52 kilometres in the hour. What a brilliant world record that will turn out to be. And just time to tell you briefly about our quiz. Part of the prize now for guessing the winner of Sunday's stage is the line that Miguel Indurain waves at us every day from the podium, as well as the yellow jersey and the print of the Tour of Lombardy. This is the number you should ring with your selection. 0839 44 4554. The best of luck. Well, to everybody back home, and indeed to many, many people on the Tour de France, including those great names like Eddy Merckx and Bernard Hinault, the man of the day is not Miguel Indurain, but in fact Chris Boardman. Chris, what does it feel like now?
Sore, very sore, but to see the Tour as well, I mean, just walk in past people like Ekimov, it's like, oh, excellent. And we didn't realise it was going to be this big, and I'm glad I didn't realise before as well.
Chris, is there any possibility one day you'll be a pro now?
Yeah, I think it's a bigger and bigger possibility every day, because the targets as an amateur are disappearing, so it's the next route, I think.
Chris, on behalf of everybody, many, many congratulations. It was a wonderful experience this morning.
It was for me, thank you.
So tomorrow the Tour de France goes on, of course. This is the final weekend now, and it's the time trial tomorrow. Miguel Indurain, I think, will be the name we'll be talking about, and not quite so much that of Chris Boardman. But until tomorrow night, from me, Phil Liggett, on behalf of Paul Sherwin and James Richardson, goodbye.